So morning everyone, thanks for joining me. We are at the Bridge Inn again, just outside of Clevedon, Bristol. Just about to go in and have a nice breakfast. It's Acorn Spring League round 1 today. The league is done in 3 sections. There's 3 large sections that rotate. You'll have a draw, then you'll rotate round the lake for 3 matches, fishing in the same section of people if you like, but the 3 different sections around the lake. And then you'll do an open draw again, which is good. It sort of mixes up the anglers, and then you go around another 3 times, 6 matches. You drop your worst resort, so 5 matches to count towards your total. All the money's paid out in section, which I quite like. Quite different that. There is no sort of framing. It's always nice to win the match, but it's about winning your section. They pay, I think, top 3 in the section as well, which is quite good. It's fishing very well, as you've probably seen, or hopefully you've seen my last video. Fished really well. We had 184 pounds, made a few mistakes, learnt a few things. It's been cold throughout the week again. It's the 20th of April today. Last weekend, if you remember, what was that, 13th, it was really warm that weekend. Then all the week again this week, we've had those sort of horrible northerly winds, haven't we? So how that's going to affect it, I'm not too sure. I got up this morning, it said 3 degrees on the van. So it has dropped a bit, so whether we'll be able to drop in the margin and catch 1 or 2 straight away, sort of sneaky couple of bonuses, wouldn't it? Whether we'll be able to do that again, I don't know, but we'll certainly try. If not, it's a cross, but we're going to clear out those boards and the weed off the boards across this time, so hopefully we'll catch a few more. Let's hope for a good draw and a good start. I'll see you down there. So double shipping in this peg due to a fence behind us. There's horses on the other side of the fence. You don't want to be poking your pole through there. Started down the edge there on the left, nothing. So 8-9 minutes in and we're across with a few pellets, but across is even shallower. Now normally I'd love that, but with it being so bright, don't really fancy it at all if I'm honest. It's 18 inches in this peg across, which it sounds alright, doesn't it? It sounds perfect, but it's very, very bright and very still. So we spent a little bit of time across. We foul hooked 2 fish, both of which come off. Yeah, and it's really slow. So I've gone down the middle where I've potted in about 100 millimaggots. I think it might be too bright for that shallow water, as I say, so always put a few maggots down the middle here because we've always got this quality skimmers, tench, chances of carp as well. You can get the odd big carp, but a lot of times it's sort of smaller carp. I don't think they'll want to be in that deeper water really, the carp though. I think they want to be in the shallower water, but at the same time I think in these conditions it could all happen very late. I don't mind a few of those. And apologies, the camera's quite close today, so do remember I am nearly 60 now, so apologise for any gurning or talking to myself. This feels like a small carp. Feels properly hooked as well, which surprised me a little bit, because when we struck into that fish, the float must have come 3 foot out of the water before we connected with it. So that fish must have followed them maggots down, picked them up and come straight up off the bottom, which tells me they definitely don't want to be in that deeper water. They don't want to be in 5 foot of water today.
I thought that was foul guard. You ain't, mate. That took that bait and must have come. I struck. Yeah. I hit the 3 foot off. You must have picked that up and come straight up off the bottom by 3 foot. Yeah, we'll keep £50.
The kit we're using there for down the middle, because it's a steel. I mean, there is actually a breeze. You can probably see it to my left there a little bit, but in other parts of the lake, it is quite a nice little ripple, and the breeze is hitting me pole, if you like, when I'm fishing across, etc. Because it's right to left, but I've got a bridge to my right. It's a wooden bridge that sort of comes up out the water about 18 inches, but it's like a whole board, if you can imagine. If you can imagine sticking an 18-inch board down, so it's just stopping the. So it's ripple the other side of the bridge there on peg 21, blowing into the bridge, but it's just stopping then and not showing my side of the bridge, which is a bit of a concern, to be honest, especially if it stays this flat and this bright. As I say, I either need the wind to get right up or change direction, or that sun to go in. Or, as I say, it's going to be a very late match for me here. So feeding a short maggot line as well. That's 3 foot of water there. We're just looking on that early at a desperation, to be honest. We're going around all our lines, just trying to find odd fish, because I think that's how it's going to be for us till late. So back across, as we say, we're sort of covering all our options, aren't we? Working hard, to be honest. I've abandoned pellets across. I initially tried sort of 4mm hard pellets over 4mm hard pellets, didn't work. So then generally down here at Acorn, my sort of plan B from that is to then start cab potting micros with a few fours and fish a four over that. Didn't work. So then we went from micros to a soft pellet on the hook rather than fours. Didn't work. Didn't think it was going to, because I just wasn't. It wasn't like I was getting liners or rejections. I just wasn't getting really that many signs. So then we even went to ground bait and maggot, and still wrong. So what I've ended up doing is potting in about 50mm casters, and then just leaving it basically. And that might be the way it goes today. Just potting in some casters, leaving it for 20 minutes, trying to catch somewhere else, and then just sneaking across in that bright conditions, trying to lower the rig in as carefully as we can, and try and nab a fish, and one fish, and that'll probably be it as well. That one fell for double caster. 012 hook length, 018 main line, 0.20 float. And there, look, we've gone back across for a second time. Yeah, just running into it, aren't they? Even tight up against the boards, just too bright. Our first dobbing on caster across, so we didn't catch on film because we're a little bit into the match now, but we did have a nice big perch, about 2.5 pounds, which has helped to go with our skimmer and our couple of small carp. Yeah, that's not a great sign. So there you are, sort of 4.5 hours in, and we were sat on about £20, I think, and an hour and a half to go now. And I decided I seen a fish swim by the end of the keep nets, and it's the first time I've seen a carp swimming that close. First time I sort of seen, and I thought, oh, that might be a sign that they're sort of looking close. So I fed the cab pot of ground bait down the edge there, 3 red maggots on the hook, our usual sort of 0.4 Elco Malman Elco float, 016 hook length, and just waited, and we waited a long time. I was probably sat there on that for a good 10, 12 minutes and just never moved it. And finally we had a dig on the float and we got one. And that's what you need, isn't it? It's a settler, isn't it? We've had one down the edge. That's it now. We'll just work our short lines, looking for proper quality fish and be very patient. Darren on my right isn't doing any better than me. Mark on my left isn't doing any better. It is really tough in this little area. So a nice little run there down the edges. We've had to wait a little while on bites, and I find it not too much ground bait. Too much ground bait, and I've seen it like they're coming in one at a time, and you see them, and they're all over the shop, to be honest. And they sort of spook off from absolutely anything. Um, so I'm having to stay quite still and quite quiet, but we are catching the odd fish, and they're not a bad quality, so all good. And now we've just got one on the short maggot line in 3 foot of water, which is fantastic news.
We're only fishing an hour and a half max, Mike. Is that right, Dad? We let you lot have 4.5 hours, so it's fair, isn't it? Bullshit, fair, isn't it?
Just fishing short on all our lines now. We're fishing for quality fish. I mean, pegs 13 and 15, they are the sort of boss pegs in the section. Have caught very well the first 2 hours. We're all in a straight line down Cyanide Strait, so you can look to your sort of right and left. There's only one in my section, or two, I think, to my left. Um, it's on this bank in my section, but everybody else is to the right, and you can see them. Um, oh, that's a lovely tench. But yeah, so you can see, I mean, and they've caught really well the first couple of hours. So the rest of us are definitely playing catch up. But I haven't seen them. I'm not seeing them catch much now. But the first couple of hours, they certainly were. Barry, trying to think of Barry's second name. He's on peg 13. Loves fishing shallow caster. So I imagine that's what he's been catching on a bright day like today.
Nowhere near half of that. Not as much as you, Mark. We're still on the Dave Wilmot's hybrid elastic as well at the moment, which I'm really enjoying. Getting more used to it now. Same with anything, and I don't like change very often. I do like to sort of get to know me tackle, and you get to know how far to push it. Um, yeah, and it comes out really well. It was quite soft, that elastic, yet it powers up very well as hybrids do, of course. And the longevity of it, I think that's the key factor now. I can see that this is going to last a lot longer than what some of the hollows are I've been using. So yeah, I think this could well become a bit of a regular elastic for me now. This. Look at that. That fish has nearly reached the far side there. Really stretches. Lovely. There's plenty of power when you want it. Very feisty, this one. It's got a bit of ghosty in him, that one. That's why. Back on the short maggot line. Lovely.
Well, just a quick post-match chat, really. Can you believe it? You know, it just goes to show, doesn't it? Never ever give up. I actually thought 4 hours in, I thought, blimey, you know, I knew it was going to be late, but with that bridge there to me right, I think that did sort of stop the ripple coming through. With it being so flat and those edges a little bit on the shallow side, and obviously bright, it's always difficult at Acorn. I knew it could be a late sort of job, but I've won the section with £115. 78 was second, 77 was third, and then there was a 60. So really pleased with that. You can't ask for a better start than that, can you? Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you on the next round.